What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's going on with the overall market moving forward, what data is coming out for next week that's going to be very important, and when the market's going to be closed next week since we have a very, very special and a unique week. But before I begin the devil's information, before I talk about all the different charts, give you guys a very, very brief update. So let me just mention that I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 free stocks. And the offer ends very soon in just about 5 days from now. Anyways, when it comes to the market, I want to break down something very important. Today, the market saw a little bit of a dip upon open, only to get a nice little rebound. And as time went on, the buyers continued to step in and they ended up pushing the market right back up as the day went on. So the buyers are still present. They're still trying to push the market higher, and there's still more upside potential looking at the way the market is moving. So for now, the buyers are still in control. They're still trying to win. And we have a range on SPY that's going to be very tight as we're approaching some tough resistance, but there's no sign of the market rejecting yet, so I wouldn't turn way too bearish or do anything like that. As of right now, we're still holding up, so we have to give the market more time. So I'm going to break down more details about this and talk about how things are looking in just a few minutes. I first want to talk about some other pieces of data. So for next week, it's going to be a very, very minor week because there's nothing too crazy happening. Remember, this week we had FOMC, CPI, PPI, and a lot of big pieces of data already come out. So the bulk majority of the major catalysts for the week are kind of like the major catalysts for the month, are already like out. So for next week, we just have some bill auctions coming out on Monday. Nothing too crazy. For Tuesday, we just have some manufacturing numbers coming out in industrial production. Besides that, there's just a bunch of Fed speakers coming out from Kugler to Logan. And then for Wednesday, the stock market is going to be closed. It's going to be closed in commemoration of Juneteenth. So it's going to be a very special week. We have 2 days of trading, a holiday on Wednesday, and then 2 more days of trading again. So very funny stuff. For Thursday, we actually have some housing data, not to mention some data from the Fed. We have the new orders from the Philly Fed, employment data, and other things like that. Once again, very, very minor data, nothing too crazy. And then finally, Fridays when we have the PMI report. So that's actually a little bit more important for manufacturing, the services data. So we have more important data coming out Friday morning, but that's going to be the most important time, at least for the week. So in my personal opinion, it's going to be kind of a quiet week next week. We may not get as much volume because of the holiday. Monday and Tuesdays when we have data, but it's all very minor. Wednesdays when we have, once again, the most important holiday for the week. The market's not going to be trading on a Wednesday. And then Thursday and Fridays when we have more data. Friday is actually going to be a very important data day with PMI coming out. So we'll see. But this is nothing compared to like a CPI week or an FOMC week. It's going to be more minor, if anything. Moving forward, we also have the Fear and Greed Index coming out. This is currently more fearful, so we have to give this a bit more time. Momentum is also more on the greedy side as we're still seeing a lot more buyers stepping in. And finally, the put to call option positioning is currently still greedy. There's still buyers in control. They're still closing their puts. And we actually saw shorts get squeezed again today, whereas market volatility is still quite neutral. So what do I see on the charts? What's my personal opinion? When you zoom out on SPY, I'm actually going to pull up the hourly time frame instead. You guys get to see that we have a very, very nice looking flag that's approaching on SPY that does suggest upside is a strong possibility. But that depends if we could break the all-time high or not. So if we do push higher, watch 544 is resistance. The last time we hit this 3 times, we actually rejected 3 times off 544. So we'll see if we try to break this next week. If we do break this, I think we could be approaching the high 540s. Our next target is going to be all the way up to 545 and eventually 549. So I do see quite a bit of upside potential if we manage to break that resistance. So I'll be watching for that. If we reject again, we're just going to maintain this little structure right over here as we're going back and forth between these 2 trend lines within the part of the flag. So then we'd be coming back down to about 539.5, then back up and just continuing to trade sideways if we do end up rejecting as soon as Monday open ends up coming. So those are the 2 main possibilities. Either we see SPY kind of like break through this and start pushing higher for a new all-time high. If we break 544, that's the assumption, then we'll go much higher. So like the much higher 540s. And then the other cases, if we do get a rejection here, if we do get rejected back into here, then this is what we're going to continue to do, just continue to kind of flag like this before we see either a breakout here or this way. We'll be watching that as well. But those are the 2 main possibilities. But right now, looking at the strength in SPY, I favor that it's going to be testing the all-time high again. It looks to me like it's going to be testing 544. And I can't promise we're going to break it or not because we did reject off it 3 times. We just have to wait and see if we could break it. For now, the bulls are very strong. There's no sign of them rejecting or anything like that. So give the market some time. Might go a little higher. We'll see if we get a rejection off 544 or not, but so far the bulls are winning. For Nvidia, Nvidia is holding up very, very well. This is currently in the very, very low 130s, and it's actually testing some tough resistance though. So I mentioned to everyone to be careful with Nvidia. We're going to see a lot of chop, and that's what's happening because we're approaching some tough resistance. If we break this high, we could be going all the way up to about 134 as our next potential target. If we fail to break through this, we'll be coming back down to about 130. And if we lose that, I'll be watching 128 and 125. Overall, Nvidia is just kind of trading within a range, but it's still on an uptrend, holding up very well. So we have to give this more time, at least moving forward. So for now, Nvidia has upside potential, but give this the time it needs, at least from the way we are moving. For Bitcoin, I would say that Bitcoin's looking a little bit more bearish overall. We've been rejecting quite a bit, and we've been dipping more and more. I'm going to be looking for a retest of this top right here around the 66,000 area. That's previous support becoming resistance. There's a double top like formation, and we're actually getting a rejection. So I do think that Bitcoin might kind of pop a bit then reject. So I'll be watching that very, very carefully. But I do see a little bit more potential for upside, so give it more time that's necessary. For the QQQ, we're breaking the all-time high again, so there's no sign that the QQQ is about to reject yet after all. However, just know resistance is going to get tougher the higher we go. We're approaching 480. We haven't actually broken 480 yet. I did mention to everyone that there's tough resistance between 478 to 480, and that is true because we rejected off 478 two times already, and the third time we actually broke a little bit through it, but now we're just testing 480. So I think 480 is going to be a key level. We might test this going into next week, go a little bit higher, but watch and see if you get a rejection. If we reject off this, we could be retracing back down to at least 478. If we break 480, we'll be going all the way up to our next target. We'll be watching 481 as the next level. To me, it looks like the resistance is going to be kind of tough, so it might go a little higher, but watch 480. I'm not sure if we're going to break that or not, so give it some more time. For Aapl, we're just kind of trading sideways within a range. We have 212.5 as support. We have 215 as resistance. If we lose 212.5, we'll be dipping all the way down to 210. Overall, we're kind of like in a tight channel right now, so give Aapl the time it needs, but there is some downwards momentum that is a strong possibility. Aapl also has this big gap to fill, so it does favor a test of 210 to maybe a bounce, but I do see a little downside coming before it tries to rebound again. Supermicro, it came back up, and we're just continuing to trade sideways. I'll be watching to see if we could break past 850. That's where we have this imbalance. I think it might test 850 next week, and we'll see if we, reject or not. There's a possible downtrend. We had this high here, came down, made a lower high, came down. So we'll see if we reject off 850. We'll be dipping all the way back down in this range right here where our 200 EMA happens to be, and the lower 800s. If we break past 850, then we'll be pushing back up to 867. My gut tells me it's going to push a little bit, then watch to see if we reject or not. For Amazon's forming a nice accumulation structure, but we need to break 183.5. We got to break past the 200 EMA. If we break that, we're going to get closer to 185. If we fail to break this, we're going to reject. Looking at this accumulation, this is forming a cup, so it's going to try to push, but we have to see if we can break this key resistance. We're just testing it right now. We were not able to break it during the after hours, so we'll see. Overall, Amazon's very choppy, so give it some more time. We'll have to see what it ends up doing, but there is potential for it to go higher. Meta has the same thing. It also has potential to go up to about 506 again. I think it's going to try to test that going into next week, but we'll see if it rejects or not. The last time we had 506 to 508, we did reject off that. So look for a little bit more upside, then we'll see what this ends up doing. That's going to be pivotal for the way things continue. For GME is trading sideways within a range right now. There is some downside potential in this, though, if we don't manage to break past 30. We got to break 30 to get our run going. If we don't break it, we're going to be looking for a move back down to 26. So we got to break 30 if GME wants to run. It has potential, but we need to give it more time. AMC is also just very boring. It's been trading sideways for 3 straight days. We have support currently at 4.96. We have resistance currently at 5.25 and also at 5.5. If we break 5.5, this thing is going to go running. It hasn't done that yet, so we need to watch for confirmation. Every time we touch 5.5, we reject. Even today, that kind of happened. So we're just waiting for AMC to finally get that break. It's taking time, so I'm just going to be patient with this one, but there's no sign of a break yet. We're just very sideways, so give it more time. All right, so that is it for the update for the day, guys. Thank you all for listening. I'm going to end this video kind of short because it's a holiday that's coming up. The weekend is coming up, so I'm just going to try to finish this as fast as I can. With that being said, I'll give you guys more insights tomorrow. I'm going to talk a little bit about Tesla and a few others tomorrow, since we have a very important update that came out. And then on Sunday, watch for my video. I'm going to give you guys a full in-depth analysis of the markets. I'm going to go over everything that I typically go over, from the dollar to the VIX to Meta and Coin and all the others like AMD. I'll be talking more about those on Sunday. So until then, thank you for listening. I'll see you guys again tomorrow to talk about Tesla and a few more. So until I'm back on Saturday, take care, guys, and peace out.